Growing a business is kind of tricky right now. Supply chains are squeezed, tariffs and trade policies are dynamic, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. You need clarity to come out on top. Without it, you risk falling behind. If only you could hop in the DeLorean and see the future, right? Thankfully, there's NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite has real-time forecasting to help you move ahead with confidence. This is your AI-powered business management suite and the #1 cloud ERP. Trusted by over 42,000 businesses, NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. And with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. Hey, I get it. You've worked really hard to build up your business, and it's doing great. So great that you need help now. The most important thing for your business is to hire the right people to support it. So how can you find amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. And with Sponsored Jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, Sponsored Jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. And it's one of the largest databases of job seekers, too, giving business owners access to a wide range of candidates. And one of the things I love most about Indeed is the job alerts feature. I get notified when new candidates apply. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need. The perfect product launch. It's the goal for every brand marketer. High heat, fast sellout, and fans posting recipes like trophies. What do Sydney Sweeney's soap drop, Taylor Swift's tickets, and your next launch have in common? Well, they're not bought, they're bragged about. Fanfare turns your drop into a moment. Fanfare cues real fans, blocks bots, and builds launch experiences worth screenshotting. Want hype without the heartbreak? Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook with our proven success formula and make your next launch unforgettable at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, fanfare.io/playbook. This is the Smart Passive Income Podcast with Pat Flynn, session number 175.
I think that I found myself a cheerleader. She's always right there when I need her.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. He always uses Toad when playing Mario Kart. Pat Flynn.
While DIY website tools are everywhere, most fall short on design and performance. Hit publish. Framer ships your site worldwide in seconds. No code, no compromises. Framer is a powerful, user-friendly platform that delivers developer-level results without writing a single line of code. Make your designs move and convert with Framer. Framer brings your site to life with powerful animations, dynamic content handling, and a design-first approach that helps your site stand out. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. Browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something of your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, scroll and looping animations, and much more in seconds. And it's free to start. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting of generating starter layouts and can even translate your entire site to any language. On the back end, you'll get responsive breakpoints, built-in hosting, a flexible CMS, and privacy-friendly analytics. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at Framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's Framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. Running a business means legal questions are inevitable. Is this contract or agreement solid? What can I do if a client won't pay me? Am I set up properly for taxes? Well, rather than trying to navigate all of this on your own or searching endlessly online, imagine having a law firm on your side without the high hourly rates. That's exactly what Legal Shield's small business plans offer. With Legal Shield, entrepreneurs get access to real legal support, contract reviews, collection letters, guidance on business formation, and even help handling IRS audits. Members can book consultations, upload documents through the app, and work with a provider law firm that understands small business laws in your state. You also get proactive help on tax and trademark questions so you can stay ahead of legal risks. And if a client delays payment, Legal Shield can send professional collection letters to help you recover what you're owed, all for a fraction of what traditional attorneys charge. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another session of the Smart Passive Income Podcast. You're listening to session 175. And I'm really excited today because some of our favorite episodes, some of my favorite to conduct, and I know some of your favorite to listen to, are ones of people just like you. And this is somebody who is a listener of the SPI podcast, somebody who has read the blog for quite a while, who has taken his 8-year hobby blog, something he kind of did on the side, and turned it into a full-time 6-figure per month business. He is completely crushing it, and this is one of the most inspiring stories I've heard in quite a while. His name is Kirk Duplessis over at optionalpha.com, where he talks about his strategies for trading options. You know, this is like stock market stuff. And you might think of the stock market and any site that teaches people how to do this kind of stuff as sort of scammy or putting up a red flag. But I'll tell you, Kirk's done it the right way with transparency and honesty. And he's using a lot of great strategies to build his membership site. And it's just incredible. I'm not going to let you wait any longer. Let's just get right into the interview. This is Kirk from optionalpha.com. You'll love it. What's up, everybody? I'm so happy to welcome Kirk Duplessis to the Smart Passive Income Podcast. Kirk, thank you so much for coming on.
Pat, man, so good to be here. Thank you so much. It's an honor.
And I have to just, even before we get started, just wish you a happy birthday. I just found out that today, the day that this recording goes live, which is actually not today because we're pre-recording this. Anyway, that's kind of confusing. But anyway, today, the day this goes live, August 19th, happy birthday to you.
Yeah, thanks, man. 29. I feel like, I feel like I'm 29 now because it's a couple of weeks before that, but,
right?
But it feels good. Yeah.
So it's like we're doing some time travel here.
Super early happy birthday. I love it.
Which I'm always down for time travel, as most of you know. Anyway, Kirk Duplessis is somebody who I've known for quite a while. I got to know him first at one of our very first one-day business breakthrough events in San Diego. That's the event that Chris and I do every year in San Diego, and we have entrepreneurs come in. Kirk was one of them, and his story and his business kind of blew us away. And then he came back for more. You liked it. I guess you liked it enough that you came back for one of the follow-up events, and you blew us away again with how much your business has progressed since that first one to the second one, and also just some of the things you're doing in general to grow your business. So why don't we just introduce yourself to everybody and tell everybody kind of what it is that you do and then kind of how you got there.
Yeah. So my background is, I would say it's pretty average for like most people in finance that are getting out of school. I went to a top-ranked business school, and coming out of school, I thought I wanted to do the typical investment banking route in Wall Street. So I ended up working in New York for a big investment bank doing mergers and acquisitions, and did a rotation on their trading desk, which is how I kind of got my start into my business. Mm-hmm. But then left there and, still worked in finance, and I was in the mortgage industry for a little bit, and I was in the retail sector for a little bit, like publishing reports on what companies would do and how much money they would make and where their stock price might go. And so I finally kind of let all that stuff go and said, you know what? I love options trading, which is my business. I run a website called optionalpha.com. And I said, I love options trading. I want to jump into this. And really, I've had the business for about 8 years now, or the website for about 8 years now. But I kind of took it as a hobby at first. And then only basically last year did I really start taking it, seriously and said, this thing could really be an income producing, long-term project for me. So that's really where I got my start, is just starting to put content out there and start doing blog posts and video tutorials. And it's just grown from there.
So 8 years, that's quite a long time. But you started it off, like you said, as a hobby. What made it click for you in terms of turning it into a real business? What you had said, you figured that you could do this full time and turn it into the thing. What made you feel that way?
Yeah, so I was, I've had it for 8 years. I was doing it like most people were, where they were, in the beginning days of blogging, where you just kind of posting your ideas and thoughts and comments out there. And people would write back and say, hey, maybe I can follow your trades, or I can follow what you do. And so I've always made money off of the website, but it was, $10,000, $20,000 a year, which it's not, a lot, but it's not a little either. You're still making money off of it. But I think last year really clicked for me when I started seeing guys like you and Dumas and all these other guys that are out there that are just, doing really well. And they're really seriously taking their website as treating it as a business. And so I stepped back and I said, how do I want to treat my website? Like, what are the people that I want to mold my website around? And I basically went through with my wife, who's basically my, biggest mentor and fan and everything.
That's
so
awesome.
she said, why don't you make a list of the people that you want to emulate? Like, who are the people that you want to be like? And I wrote down a list of people and I said, I want to be like Pat Flynn in the way he cares for his audience. I want to be like Chris Ducker in how I outsource and process my business. I want to be like Ramit Sethi in the fact that like all of my free stuff is 100% better than anybody else's paid stuff.
Love it.
I want to be like Michael Hyde and how I lead my community. Like all of these people I wrote down, and I finally just honestly took myself a lot more serious with my online business. Started investing in myself, started going through coaching, the one day BBs, going to FinCon soon, doing that, the podcast movement. I mean, I'm trying to do everything I can to invest in myself and my business at the same time.
I love that. It really does take sort of a mental shift to go from just on the side hobby blog to true business owner, almost CEO. And that's kind of even right now, I'm still going through that big transition. I feel very much like the beginnings of Smart Passive Income was sort of a scrappy and just kind of this kid kind of who put everything together, and now I'm starting to get really serious about it. And I love how you called out certain people and what you liked about them. I think that's a great exercise that we could all do because that embodies who you are and what business you're going to create and what that business is like. Before you made that switch, though, you said you were making about 10 to 20 grand a year. How are you generating an income before this mind shift?
So it was still the same way. So I was still doing monthly paid memberships.
Okay.
So in my business, we run both a educational portion where we do free training and free courses on teaching people how to trade options. So you can trade stocks, but there's another dimension where you can trade options, which I argue is often safer and more lucrative, more profitable to do that. So I teach people how to do that. And the way I was generating, income before is through like a low price monthly membership that would get them basically access to everything. So it was one price and you were either in or you were out. And so that's how I was doing it before. And obviously, started to make a shift after One Day BB.
What was the price point back then?
So the price point back then, which is kind of like, I hope not a lot of members are listening to this now because they're going to be like, Kirk, I want to get that price. But it was actually I think I actually started like $9 a month. And then it went up to, I think, $14 a month. And right now, our lowest price point is $100 a month. Our highest price point is $299 a month.
Wow. And, one of the themes that always comes out of these one-day business breakthrough events that Chris and I do is that people always underpay themselves. They don't take enough, they don't believe that they're worth a certain amount. And one of the kind of phrases that came out of at least one of our business breakthroughs was double it, always keep doubling it. And, people doubled how much they were charging for consulting and they got more gigs and were making more money and had better clients. And same thing for you too. So $100 minimum now. And, I feel like people who are in there now would understand kind of this progression. So, you don't have to worry about that. And I'm sure the content is valuable and, they're making money off of what they learn from there, which is awesome. It's interesting as well because, you had mentioned Ramit Sethi earlier. He kind of went through the same progression where when he started monetizing his blog, and I followed him ever since I started following blogs in general in 2006, his first product was an ebook for $4.95. Do you remember that?
Right, yeah.
And now he's charging up to 5 figures for different kinds of things that he does. But it is so amazing. And yes, he does put the best stuff out there as well. And I love that you're emulating that too. So where is the growth coming from? You said you're pretty much doing the same model. What has really been the kicker for you in terms of the explosive growth that has happened? Yes, it's happened in your mind, but you also have to put things into action. What were those things that you put into action to grow?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing that really came out of, and it did kind of come out almost right before One Day BB. And then I remember actually kind of sitting down with you and Chris at dinner that night saying, hey, here's the change that I'm thinking about going through. And the change went from putting all of my content behind this protected paywall. You can only access it if you pay me, right? Like I'm some high and mighty person who, will only give you the keys to the kingdom if you pay me $10. And I said, you know what? Forget that. I want to, and again, I wanted to care for my audience like you do, like Pat does, right? So I said, you know what? I'm going to give everything away for free. All of the training, all the video tutorials, downloads, PDFs, everything that I could possibly give away for free. I'm going to give it all away for free. And not only did I just open up the gates and said, look, you can come in and take as much as you want, as much time as you want. You can watch as many videos as you want, but I redid almost everything. I said, I want it to be better than anybody else's paid stuff. So it wasn't these cheesy, video tutorials with slides. Like I put a lot of effort and time into making everything really, really good stuff. Great content, lots of examples, case studies, research. I mean, you name it, I put it out there. And so I opened it up and I said, look, you can sign up for a free membership and you get everything. And my goal in doing that was saying, look, if you watch every single one of my videos, and I think now we have 880 different like videos and case studies and all, like it's so much content on there. But if you watch every single one of my videos, at some point, you're going to believe in my system enough to upgrade to that extra 10%, which is following my daily trades, watching my portfolio, and jumping on weekly strategy calls. So that was really the mindset shift and how I changed it on the website as well. As I said, I'm going to open it up for free, give you everything you want. And then if you want to go to that next level, you can, and I'm going to give you a path to get there.
Okay, so the big difference I'm feeling here is that, yes, you gave everything away for free and people were getting what was already available. But if they wanted those things that as they were coming out, then they would have to pay a little bit extra. And those things were so good that people couldn't help but do that, or at least the members who are there now. And the interesting thing is, what it is you're giving away all that information for free, but what it is you're charging for is two things: access to you. They get to the peek inside your portfolio and see how you do and whatever it is that you do, and then also they get it now. And those two things, access and now, are things that you could charge a lot for, and you should be charging a lot for. And so it's really cool to see you going down that path. Were there any fears though when you were kind of making that change, or did you know it was going to work? I mean, I imagine a few people in the audience right now saying, well, wow, I could never just give everything away for free. What would you say to those people?
Yeah, well, I think, in my case with like my business, like I kind of took the Andrew Warner approach for Mixergy, right? Like he used to do back in the early days, and he may still do this again, where all of his interviews that he publishes with people are live and available for free for a certain period of time, right? And then if you want to see that interview later, then you got to pay for it. So I kind of took that same approach in the sense that I made all of my trades that I would do online, I made those available, but only after 20 days. So I kind of took that idea and flipped it around and said, look, you can see all of my trades that I've done. Eventually, you can see them after 20 days. But if you want to see them right now, which in the stock market, obviously, if you're doing trades, you kind of want live information and real-time information, right? So I knew that for me, that was kind of the linchpin to say, this is what people want and they want access to it now. So that's how I knew, kind of what areas to quarantine off. So if people are out there and they're thinking, I could never do that, I think there's always something in your business that people want right now or access to you right now. And if you maybe section that portion off as some sort of paid product or paid access or membership, I think that's really where you really get a lot of the value.
Love that. I love that. Now, we're going to get into some of the marketing you're doing, how you're growing, how you're keeping people on as well. Of course, one of the big things with having a membership where people are paying every month is to keep people in there. And we'll talk about those strategies as well. First of all, can you give us an idea of how well the business is doing now? You had mentioned beforehand, before this sort of mindset shift to CEO and business owner and getting professional with it, you were making about 10 to 20 grand a year. Can you give us any insight? You don't have to give specific numbers if you're not comfortable, but how is it doing now?
Yeah, so I mean, it's honestly crazy, and we were talking about this offline. But I totaled everything up. June of last year, kind of right before we went to One Day BB, I did a little over $7,000. So it was kind of on the upswing for just June, right? Like that was 1 month, and it was an amazing month. Like I never imagined doing more than that. Last month we did $175,000, and the last 12 months, right now we've done a little over $500,000. So it's been ridiculous.
Well, 170K in June.
Yes, so we did 175,000 in June, and in the last 12 months we've done 504,000.
And those are all from memberships.
All from membership sales.
Oh man,
monthly recurring membership. It's kind of crazy. Like I can't even believe it right now. Like even saying it. Like I've never honestly. Like only my wife knows this. So when everybody hears this, they're gonna be like, "What? Are you kidding me?" Like
I mean, this is the holy grail, right? Where people are paying month after month, and you kind of have you can stop or take a break, and those things will still be there. At some point, obviously, you had said that you got to keep up with the audience as well, and that's one of the big challenges that I know a lot of people have with membership sites is keeping that content going. I had a membership site, Breakthrough Blogging, and I don't want to say it failed, but it was very difficult for me to keep up with it, and it just didn't resonate with me in terms of the way that I wanted to present solutions to my audience. So I decommissioned it, unfortunately. But I know since doing that it can be very difficult to just stay consistent with delivering that content to keep people in there. How are you able to do that?
So yeah, this is actually one of the themes that I'm still working on. So like, I'm not totally, I'm not satisfied in where I'm at right now with, keeping people on. I think you can always increase the retention, but one of the things I found to be really successful in keeping people is that they have to take, a couple different actions. And I think I may have even heard it from somebody on your podcast or maybe even on Chris's podcast, but you got to get people to take action in the first couple of days. So one of the things that I do, which is really different than anybody else out there, and again, this gets back to that whole like caring about my audience, trying to lead them in the right direction, is that as soon as somebody signs up for a membership, I give them a call 7 days into their membership. And for me, 7 days has been just kind of the area that I found is like they might use the membership a little bit or they might not.
Mm-hmm.
And I can track that and see that. So I give them a call 7 days in. It's totally unexpected. They have no idea I'm doing it. And nobody knows, that I do this, usually. So they get this unexpected call, which is great. And that kind of adds value. They want to stay around. Now it's personal with me. And I also help them through it. I can say like, hey, look, Pat, I see that you really have only watched, a couple of video tutorials. You've only gone through one course. What's keeping you back from continuing forward? Have you made any trades? Are you following it? And ever since I started doing that a couple of months ago, I've seen my retention go from a couple months to now is almost 8 and 9 months.
Wow, that's huge.
Right, exactly.
So just a little bit of time up front adds up to a lot.
And it's like a 15-minute call. The whole process is automated. It's just an automated email that goes out on their 7th day of being a member. They get a link to a online calendar scheduling, service, and they put in their info. They schedule it when it's appropriate for them and me. And we just make the call and we jump on and we talk for a little bit. And, that's gone just a ton, or gives them a ton of value. And just they know now that somebody's there that cares for them and wants them to succeed. And they end up staying much longer.
That's super sweet. I'm curious to know what my experience would have been like if, for example, I'm a part of a membership site, actually many membership sites. And I'm curious to know what it would have been like to get a call within that first week. It must be a really cool feeling for them to hear that. And it's no wonder why they stay on. And plus they get more trust with you. Oh, this guy's for real. And this guy's going to help me out. They probably get motivated to go into the content and they see the content and get excited about that as well. What tools are you using to kind of make all this happen?
Yeah. So my favorite tool in the entire world has to be Zapier. So I love Zapier because I'm still doing this as like, I say like a 1.5 man show. Like it's myself. And then I do have a full-time assistant that, after One Day BB hired her, right. And it's been great, having her on board. But she does a lot of the admin stuff, back-end stuff, posting blog stuff. So it's really me doing customer service and running the website. So for me, Zapier that just like integrates all these different services that are out there from, my Google Calendar to email to, transferring people from, different lists in MailChimp and Stripe payments and everything. I think Zapier has been an amazing tool and it's kind of like my third employee.
That's cool. I've heard, I actually use Zapier for Smart Podcast Player and a few other things as well. It's a great tool. I highly recommend you guys check it out. It could be that thing that saves 15 minutes for one task that you do over and over again. But obviously those minutes add up. And so it's really cool to hear you mention that.
Right.
Here's a very honest question, not to say that the other ones were not honest, but I don't know why I said that. So options trading, this is like stock market stuff, teaching people how to invest money. Generally speaking, this industry is a little bit, I don't know, I'm feeling a little, like people have to be very cautious about who they work with, or, there's a lot of sites that could potentially scam people. How do you stop people from thinking that way about your site, or how do you differentiate yourself from all the other sites that are talking about these kinds of things?
Yeah. So, I think it's two things. One, it's transparency. So one of the things that I do, again, when I started this, kind of taking myself serious with this business, I said, what's missing out there, right? When I started looking at this environment of people doing this, what's missing? And it was transparency. So nobody, shows you every single trade that they do, and they don't review it, and they don't show you their entire portfolio on good days and bad days.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that I do, which is a lot of time, but again, it adds a lot of value, is that every single day after the market closes, and I'll be doing this after our call right now. But every single day after the market closes, I do a video tutorial for my members. I upload it into the membership area, and it goes over every trade that we made that day. So if we made an opening trade or a closing trade, if we, made $2,000 or lost $2,000, I show them everything, and it's all categorized, and there's archives, and everybody can go back through them as much as you want and see it. So that to me is a huge thing, that everyone can see that and they have full transparency. I'm not trying to tell you I'm doing something and not actually doing it.
Mhm.
Like, do what I say, not what I do. And then the other thing that I think is, really different in how we do things is that it's all statistical based. So when I learned how to trade in New York, I didn't learn based on some, like hunches, like, oh, I think, Apple's a good company, so I'm going to buy Apple stock. With options, it's very numbers driven. And I think the hardest part for people to understand is that you have to get over the hurdle of changing your mindset from a, feeling or emotion or investing in a company to just trading based on probabilities and numbers. And so that's part of the reason why I think opening up my training platform and giving everybody as much content and training as possible gets people over that hurdle, because they can start learning and, learning how to trade, learning what probability trading is. Once they get over that hurdle, then they're more comfortable to say, okay, I understand the concept, I understand the system. Now I want to put it into action. Let me upgrade. Let me follow Kirk's trades, start making some trades of my own. So having that kind of numbers background and the transparency, I think, are the two biggest things that really differentiate us.
That's awesome. I'm here on your homepage right now, optionalpha.com, for all of you who are listening. And I'm scrolling down, and you're even showing some of the discussions that are going on within your community in your membership site. Even before people are there, that you can click join for free here. And it's cool because one of the top comments I saw was, really enjoy this video. Watching you on screen, watching your examples on screen is very helpful. And a few other examples of comments that are very similar. I think this is a really, really good page. And first of all, just congratulations on the business and the success, and being able to stand out and be honest and transparent in a industry. It sounds very similar to my story, how when I came into the internet marketing, online business entrepreneurship space, I saw what was out there and what was missing. And I said, hey, nobody's actually sharing, how much they're making. How am I to believe this person or not unless they show everything? And nobody was doing that. So that's where those income reports came from back in October of 2008. And I've been doing them ever since. And here you are kind of doing that, but almost daily, it seems, which is incredible.
Well, yeah, and the crazy thing is, like, I get so many comments from our members where, like, if we lose money on a trade and I walk through the process of like, okay, here's why we lost money on it. Did we do something bad? Did we do something different or out of character? Most people learn much more from the things that honestly, like, I have bad trades, because that's just how it works. You have trades that are going to go against you and trades that are going to work. But people tell me all the time, like, Kirk, I learn more from your bad trades than I do from anything else.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? Like, let you lose. They're almost like, I want you to have more bad trades so I can learn what not to do. And I'm like, well, listen, I don't hope that happens, but I get your concept.
Yeah, that's sweet. Okay, so as we finish up and begin to close off here, I'd love to get into the marketing. So how are you promoting your course? How are you getting and driving more members into your site right now? What's working?
So I think a couple things are working. So when we had talked earlier, about my strategy with the videos and posting the videos, 20 days later, my biggest traffic source right now is actually YouTube. So like I said, I do all of my videos, and I'll do a video tutorial every single night, kind of recapping all the trades. It's available for members for the first 20 days, and then it goes public on YouTube after that. So I do get a lot of traffic from YouTube, and, within those videos, I'll have, those call to action, pop-ups to download free reports or check out our, free sample trade or whatever the case is. So I do get a lot of traffic from YouTube right now. I honestly get a lot of traffic from all the blog posting that I've done. I've written almost 1,200 blog posts in the last year, or the last 8 years that I've done this. But in the last 2 years, I have not done a single new blog post. So I've actually almost taken like the Derek Halpern approach to less content, but more promotion, so I'll promote current content that I have that's really good. I'll keep promoting those, those top videos and top podcasts and blog pages. So it's really coming from YouTube and then just Google traffic that I've had and kind of grown over the last 8 years.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing that. And then in terms of when people get the free membership, what is your free members experience like? When do they get pinged to upgrade? How does that work? Do you ping them many times to go, or, what is that process like?
Yeah. Okay. So this is something that I'm continuously tweaking, but I think right now I've got it in a pretty good area that I like. And So my whole idea is that I want people, when they sign up for a membership, to upgrade when they're ready, right? And I always want to give them the option to upgrade, but I don't ever want to hard push them and hard sell them. So as soon as they log in, they'll obviously get a welcome video, a getting started video, and they'll get right into courses. And we just have a very like subtle, if you want more than this, upgrade on the sidebar, and it's just a button to our sales page. But through the course of their free membership, I'll be sending them the most popular content that we have, like the most views on tutorials, the most commented pages. And I keep just dripping out that content to them, just making sure that they stay engaged.
So it's done via email?
Yeah, so it'll all be via MailChimp and via email. So just keep dripping out that content to them to make sure that they stay engaged. Once they get to, I think it's 62 days in the membership, I send them a quick email that says, hey, you've been with us for about 2 months. What's working, what isn't? Email me back, let me know, right? And that's that whole like care aspect. Like, I want to truly know you've been 60 days, you either haven't upgraded or whatever. I want to know what's working, what's not. And so I continuously do a combination of drip and a little bit of personal touch to figure out where they are and kind of get their pulse. But from there, it's really, the fact that on every single page, you have the option to upgrade, but it's not, kind of flashing in your face. I'm not, screaming through a video tutorial like, you need to upgrade right now. Like, they can do it when they want. And most people seem to like that kind of, they'll take their own path.
And it's always open, right? It doesn't like close and then reopens and then it closes again. And you do these big launches throughout the year. Yeah.
So one of the things that I do that's really different is I really don't have like major sales. Like, I had one sale before and it was just like a quick, 30-day sale, but I don't have major sales that I'll go through, and people know that. So they know that at all times they can upgrade at whatever the price is, right? And they don't have to wait for a sale. It's not going to be some, launch or pitch. It's always going to be there, and it's always going to be the same price, unless I increase it. But it's always going to be there. They can go in and do it whenever they want.
That's awesome. I love that. If you could go back into time and maybe change something or figure out something much sooner, in your head, what would those things be?
See, I knew it. I was sitting here and I was thinking to my wife, I was like, Pat's going to ask me these questions. There's got to be one question where I don't know, like I don't have like a written down answer. Honestly, I think the thing that I would go back and do over again, I wrote 1,200 blog posts, which is great. I would have put more time into making the stuff, the content that I created earlier, much better. I feel like now if I take an extra hour to, really make sure that a podcast is ready to go or a video tutorial is ready to go, that stuff lasts forever. And I think people realize now, and people nowadays, they want great content. They want great training. They don't just want, crappy, pages and crappy videos. They want nice quality stuff. And so going back in time, I would have just made my stuff a lot nicer sooner than I did now.
That's a great answer. I feel like I could have done the same thing. And, also going back to what you had mentioned earlier as well is, taking a little bit more time. Actually, this is me speaking now in terms of what I would do. I would spend a little bit more time on promoting the things that I came out with as well. To get those things in front of as many eyeballs as possible after spending a little bit more time on them and making them better as well. So,
yeah. Well, and one other thing, maybe I just thought of it too, but like one other thing that I like obsess over now that I didn't before is the user experience. Like, I literally obsess, and my wife will even tell you, like, I'll look at a page 100 times and she'll be like, it's fine. I'm like, no, there's something missing in this page. It's not fine. There's something missing, right? But I will obsess over their experience. What's the first email that they get? What's the tone? What's the, what do they want them to do? Is it clear? Like, am I misleading them in the first email? Is there too many things to do? What does that first page look like? I just obsess over that experience and that process that somebody goes through now. And I would have done that much sooner, in my earlier days. I felt like in my earlier days, it was like, okay, I'm just going to send them an email and they'll magically get into the platform. They'll love it. They'll love it as much as I do, and they'll want to upgrade, right? But they don't. You have to take them down the path, that you want them to go.
I love that. So what are the things that are hot right now in terms of the business and where you want it to go? Kind of like what's next? What are some things you're testing perhaps and trying to improve on the platform?
So one of the things I took out of the most recent One Day BB was having some sort of a community aspect to my membership. And as crazy as it sounds, we've got, almost 9,700 and something, total members, free and paid. So we've got a huge community, and I'm really not taking advantage of that right now. So one of the things that I'm starting to build out is a forum for my community. And I feel like there's so many great traders that I've met, but it's only been me to them. and I want them to start meeting each other through my platform and my portal. And I feel like that's going to add a whole nother dimension to what we might be doing. So that's one thing that I'm really focusing on, is building out that community aspect to increase retention and also connect, different people. I think a great model for that is like Bigger Pockets and Brandon and those guys over there. I mean, they have a huge community around real estate, and it's all forum based. People are connecting. It's a great model to kind of emulate. And then another thing that I would really like to do is a lot more research. So I've started doing a lot of research reports that we've been putting out, kind of dispelling a lot of myths about investing and what really works in the stock market and what really doesn't. And the more and more time that I, can put into that research, and the more money I can now fund that research, I think it's just going to be more valuable to my audience in the end, which is, only going to make them come back to us again and again.
Man, Kurt, you totally delivered. I mean, this was a 30-minute episode, and you've put a ton into it, and I feel like people are going to get a lot out of this. Not just inspiration, but some specific things they can do to build their membership, or something to look forward to, and actually action to take to help increase the success they have in their business. So, Kirk, any final words? Where can people actually go? So you said optionalpha.com. Can they connect with you somewhere else?
Yeah, so still active on Twitter at optionalpha.com, Facebook at optionalpha. You just check us out on our website, optionalpha.com. That's where I'm there all the time, and shoot me an email anytime.
Dude, you're amazing. Great job. Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Okay, take care.
Thanks. All right, thanks again for listening. That was Kirk Duplessis over at optionalpha.com. You can check him out there. He's got a lot of great stuff, and just a mind-blowing interview with some of the strategies he's using and a lot of the tactics he's put into place, and has just learned over time in terms of what works for building his membership site, building traffic, getting exposure, increasing retention rate in his membership site, which I know a lot of people who are out there who have courses and membership sites where people pay a recurring fee, they're having trouble keeping people in. And here he is actually giving all of his information away for free, but still able to do that. I hope a lot of you picked up on a lot of the strategies mentioned there. And of course, if you have to re-listen to this, you can totally do that. There's also the links and resources mentioned in this episode, which you can find at smartpassiveincome.com/session175. So you can check those out there. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it. I also want to thank today's sponsors. First of all, Sidekick. This is an amazing tool that I've been using every single day in my email. This is a tool created by the great people over at HubSpot. You can go to getsidekick.com/SPI to check this out. And what it is, it's a contact insight tool that goes right into your inbox, and they allow you to see the profiles of the people you are talking with and corresponding with in your inbox as well, to see who they're at, what kind of person, previous correspondence, it shows their picture as well. You can see as well who opens and clicks your email. And this is one of the most powerful things, because, I send a lot of emails that I want to make sure get clicked and opened, especially to important people where I'm looking for a response right away. And this tool will help you do that. So go ahead and go to getsidekick.com/SPI, and you can get this tool and try it out for free for a little bit. And it's going to be an amazing, amazing experience for you. Again, I've tried it out. I'm using it every single day, and I'm going to be a longtime user as well. There are over 200,000 people who are using this right now too. So again, that's getsidekick.com/SPI. Guys, I've really been enjoying this podcast, and I will continue to do it in the future for you. I know a lot of you have taken the information that I've shared here, the interviews that we've done with other experts and other people, and have actually taken action with it. And I just love you for that. I'm so thankful that I have an audience who is actually not just learning, but learning and putting things into place to make change in their lives and the lives of others too. I mean, we're all here to serve other people, I hope. But I know a lot of you also need a little bit more help. I've been getting messages left and right from people who have been asking for more and deeper information about certain things. So what I've done is I've actually put together a number of courses, and there's more courses coming in the future thanks to your recommendations. If you go to smartpassiveincome.com/courses, you'll see a list of the courses that are currently available there, or that you can sign up for the waitlist for. Again, that's smartpassiveincome.com/courses. Check it out. Thank you all so much for listening. Again, this was episode 175, so you can get the resources at smartpassiveincome.com/session175. And I look forward to serving you in the next episode, where we're going to be talking with Brian Dean. A lot of you have maybe heard this name before. He is a person who is an expert at backlinking, at getting exposure in Google. We're going to talk about what you can do to get more backlinks, better backlinks, more authoritative backlinks, and more exposure to your site as well. So I look forward to sharing that with you next week in episode 176. Thank you all for listening in. I appreciate you. And until next time, keep pushing it. Keep being smart. Cheers. Take care. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
Have you dreamt about being your own boss, but still haven't made the first steps to making that dream a reality? Well, I get that. Starting a business can feel super overwhelming with legal forms, paperwork, finances. It's a lot. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Taylor Brands. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal assets and the business assets separate from day one. From there, you get access to everything you need to get off the ground. Legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program, all designed to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free, personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, listeners of this show get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. All you have to do is head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands. I get it. You want to grow your business, but selling at scale feels overwhelming. You're drowning in complicated funnels, creating different lead magnets, or constantly posting on social media. And that gets exhausting fast, especially when you're trying to sell to hundreds or thousands of people. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? A score app quiz or assessment asks your audience key questions and gives them instant personalized results based on their answers. Your audience gets to know where they are now and shows them the steps they need to hit their goals. You can set up a quiz in minutes using Score App's templates and have a powerful lead magnet that'll do the selling for you. The best part is your audience actually wants to take this quiz, and you build huge amounts of trust before you even make a single offer. No hard sales, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. Just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI.